Alright, welcome to this tutorial. Today we're going to take our next steps in DaVinci Resolve with the Fall Colors edit. This is a fun and really simple edit that uses some good music and just some timing to create a cool look. Please watch the whole video, follow along, and as always, if you have a trouble with any of the steps, please just raise your hand and I'll be around to help you. So first, please log on to Canvas. Head over to modules on the left side, and then you'll find the next module 3 and Fall Colors Practice Edit at the top. If you click on that, at the very top in yellow says Download Video Assets here. So first, you guys know the first step of the editing workflow is get organized. So we need to download what we're going to use to make this edit. So we're going to click on that, and then you can see this is separated into fall clips, drone, and audio. We have a song, a few drone shots, and then some nice videos of the fall colors. We need to download all of it. So the easiest way, in my opinion, to do this is just to right-click the Fall Colors Practice Edit folder and hit download. Now give this a second. What this is doing is zipping it into a compressed file. That's going to show up in our downloads, which is going to be, if you open File Explorer, right here. Once that's done zipping, it might ask you to allow multiple downloads. Click Allow, and then it's going to show up bottom left corner right here, just like so. Now while that's downloading, got about 10 seconds left, let's right click on the desktop, hit New Folder, and let's name this Fall Colors Edit. So we got a folder ready. We're gonna open up File Explorer. You can find our Fall Colors compressed file right here. You can go into this and see that it has all of our files in here, but we need to basically extract that. Imagine it's a Tupperware full of food. You gotta take the cap off, take it out, place it on your desktop so that you can start eating it, if that makes sense. So I'm going to highlight Fall Colors Practice Edit, hit Extract All, choose Browse. Of course, I'm going to choose this folder that I just made on the desktop, hit Select Folder and Extract. So now we can open up that folder on the desktop and see what we got. Looks like we got everything right here. That looks great. Please, if this step gives you trouble, please just raise your hand and I'd be happy to help you with this step. Sometimes the computers in school are a little wonky and don't work quite as well as we need them to. Sometimes it downloads into 3 separate zip files and you need to do that step 3 times, and that's kind of annoying. So if you have trouble, please just let me know. Alright, so we're organized. We have everything we need in our folder. Make sure you're following along on the video tutorial. You can head back to Canvas and just click on this link. I also give a lot of good tips on how to use the certain tools in DaVinci. So please watch the whole thing. Now let's open up DaVinci and get our project started. So once you have this page open, we're going to hit New Project. I'm going to name this Fall Colors Edit, and then just hit Enter or Create. And now for this video, I want to start on this cut page. So make sure you're not on this first page, we're on cut. So first thing we got to do is make sure our project is set up correctly. Let's click on this settings cog down here. The settings, as always, for this project are going to be 1920 by 1080. So make sure that says that. And then our timeline frame rate is going to be 24. As long as it says that, you can hit cancel. If you need to change it, then just hit save in the bottom right corner. Now let's import our footage. I'm going to hit Control I on the keyboard. I'm going to my desktop to find the folder I just created. And let's just start with the fall clips. I'm going to highlight all of those, hit open. I'm going to hit don't change because we want to export in 24 frames per second. And these clips are filmed a little bit differently. Some of them are 60, some of them are 120, but we want our timeline to stay at 24. So now I have these videos up here in the top left corner. Let's right click in here and make a new bin. Just like we want to stay organized on the desktop with our files, we want to stay organized inside of our program. So simple as that, I highlighted them all, drew a little box, and dropped them into this bin, it's called on Davinci, or folder. All right, let's preemptively make a new bin for the drone footage. I'm going to double click into that bin, hit Control I again. I'm going to navigate to the drone footage, highlight it all, and hit open. All right, now we're going to just import our audio. So I'm going to import media, find my audio, here's the song, and we are good to go from here. If we had multiple pieces of audio, I'd probably create a bin for that or folder, but I think we're good with the song and the clips in 2 different folders. So now we are on to stage 3. This is the most meticulous, takes the most concentration, so please pay attention to this part. This is the cutting stage. If we watch our reference video, if we head back to Google Chrome, we can see we start out with these 2 river shots. And that goes about 10 seconds in. So we're going to start with just that. I'm going to double click into my fall clips folder. And I'm going to find this first river shot. I'm going to scroll through to see what we're working with. I'm going to check back and make sure that this is the first video that we use. All right, it's not. That's actually the second. So let's double click on C034. So this is actually the first clip of the sequence. I'm going to use I and O on my keyboard to mark an in and out point. So take your playhead to about where you think it's going to start. Hit I. And then we're going to take our playhead forward to about where it ends, and we're going to hit O. Now we can take this anywhere from up here and just drag it onto the timeline. Or we can also just hit this button right here. So with our video selected, with our in and out point selected, we can hit this button called Append. Append just attaches your video onto the end of the sequence. And we're going to use that button a lot. So now that we have our first video up on the timeline, we're going to double click our second video and do the exact same thing. So select your in and out point. I'm going to select right when the camera starts to pan or tilt up. And I'm going to end it about there. And then I'm going to hit Append. And you can see that attached my video on the end of the sequence. Now we can scroll through and we can see we have our 2 videos in place. Let's look back at the reference video, see what we got next. So then we have these trees, followed by trees with the sun flare. So we're just going to continue on from here. Let's find that first sequence. We're going to select our in and out point. I'm going to start right where the trees are. And we're just going to append that on the end. Now, we aren't cutting to be perfect right now. We're just getting kind of like our base material onto the workbench, if you will. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Timing doesn't have to be perfect. Here we go. Hit my in point. Hit my out point. That looks great. Append. And then we have one more. I think it was this video. Yep. Let's check back at the reference video and see what that was exactly. All right, so the camera's kind of moving forward there. That's not it. Here it is. And if you don't like using I&O on the keyboard, you can just drag this end in. And that's about the same thing as selecting your in and out point with I&O. All right, so we have those videos in place. Again, check back to the reference video and let's see like the next 2 or 3 clips. We have the beautiful mountain shot, followed by our first drone shot. All right, let's just do those 2. Here's the mountain shot. No, it's going to end around there. Let's hit O on the keyboard and then just track back a little bit. I think the timing's going to be good around here. But again, it doesn't need to be perfect. I'm going to hit append again. And then we're going to navigate back to our drone folder. And I know this video is DJI 03. So right in the beginning here, the drone's not really moving. I'm really going to start the video right here. And the drone really starts to get going. We're going to end it around when this building is in frame. So hit O around this point and let's append. And let's head back to the reference video. And we have more of those trees. All right. So we're going to navigate back to our fall clips. We're going to find those trees. It's right here. Its colors are amazing. We are going to append that onto the end. Then you can see in the reference video, there's this little jump cut section. 2, 3, 4. It bounces with the beat. So let's just take little slivers in our next section of cutting of these videos so that we're not getting too long of a video and we can just adjust that later. So we have the top down drone video, which is right here, DJI 04. And I'm just taking the smallest little bit of this. I know, you see how tiny that is? We're going to pen that on. And then the next one is going to be this video, DJI 02. Scroll forward until we get that nice bright section, and we're just going to take again a small little bit. We can even make that smaller down here. One more time, let's check the reference video. We're going to use part of this video right here, just in the very beginning. And again, this doesn't have to be perfect. We can move these around later. We can adjust the lengths of them later. We just want to get the main things we're working on. Something you can do if this window seems too small, or this window, the timeline seems too big, is you can always hover over these lines that separate the sections, and you can adjust. All right, let's cut the rest of our clips. Let's check the reference video again. So we have this beautiful shot tilting up. And then we have that shot of the drone taking off. So let's get those two clips. I think it was actually part of the number 5. Yeah, this section right here. I'm going to hit I on the keyboard. And then O around there. And then I think it fades to this part. Yep. Let's go I and O. Append. And then it does that blackout thing one more time. We're going to go to DJI 01. Choose an in and out point of this drone taking off. Append, and then we're going to reference the video again. See that one more time. All right, so just 2 more videos to cut. We're almost done. First, it's going to be second part of this section right here. We're just taking small bits of this part because they're quick cuts. And then there's another section of, I believe it's, no, it's not that one. Oh, it's this one. So yeah, it turns around, starts to turn right here. Just take a small chunk of that. And then we're done. We have all of our videos. You can scroll through them front to back. You can see the nice thing about the cut page is this top bar here shows your entire project, almost like a bird's eye view of the project, what it looks like, how many clips you have, the length in general of the clips. So we can see already this is taking shape. We have a couple videos here in the beginning. We have those quick cuts right here, a couple more longer videos, and then those quicker cuts at the end. So now let's switch to our edit page because we're on to the next stage of our editing workflow. Next stage of the editing workflow is the fun stage. That's what I like to call it. We're going to add transitions. We're going to smooth everything out. We're going to kind of adjust the timing of everything a little bit more. We're just going to refine it and make it look like a finished product. If we watch it right now, it's not going to look almost anything like the reference video, besides the clips are in like the correct placement, the correct order. Let's grab our song and drag that onto our bottom layer. So you'll notice we have audio for our video clips, but also we have this song, right? First thing we can do, because the song is really long, if you scroll all the way to the end, it's like 3-4 minutes. Our video is only like 50 seconds. So this is a great opportunity to learn the blade tool. So you can click on this blade up here and we can make a cut right here at the end. And then you're going to click on your select tool, which is the regular cursor looking tool. And then you can highlight the end of the video that we don't need and just hit delete. Now, managing your timeline is really important. Being able to zoom in and zoom out is really a good skill to have. So we can do this a few ways. We can adjust this slider right here from minus to plus. That does the trick. You can hold Alt on the keyboard and then just scroll with your scroll wheel on your mouse. That's kind of like the shortcut way to do it. Another really cool tool that Davinci has is you can switch from your full extent zoom, which just shows you the whole timeline, or you can switch to like a detail zoom, which zooms it in nice and close so you can kind of edit frame by frame. So that's the few ways to switch around your timeline zoom. This is really going to make your life easier if you know how to do that. So let's go to our full extent zoom, because what we want to do right now is get rid of all of this audio. We don't need any of this audio that's paired with the video. So to do this, I'm going to hold Alt on the keyboard, go into this space over here that's empty, and I'm just going to draw a thin box that only highlights our audio. Because I held Alt on the keyboard, it's only highlighting those pieces of audio. If I don't do that, it's going to highlight the videos with the audio. So again, hold Alt, highlight this whole row, hit delete, and then we can move our song up. And I like to expand the song just a little bit so we can see these spikes. We're going to use these as a guide to get the timing correct for this video. So to start, we need to make these first two clips a lot longer. And to do that, if you press play and see them, they're playing super fast compared to our reference video. So what we're going to do is do a little slow motion. If you click on your clip, the very first one, and it's highlighted red like this, you can go to the inspector up here in the top right corner. We can go to speed change, and we can change this. I know I filmed it in 120 frames, so we can change it down to like a quarter of the speed. So let's do like 30%. Hit enter. Now that first clip's going to play a lot slower. And now we need to actually give it time to play a little bit longer, because if you look at the reference video, first clip plays until about 4 seconds. Second clip plays until about 9 seconds, 9 or 10. So what I'm going to do is highlight all these clips and just give us some space. I'm going to drag it forward a few seconds. And that way I can zoom in to this clip. And you can see we're at 2 seconds right here. So I'm just going to take that to about 4.5. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to do the same thing to my second clip. So I'm going to highlight it red, make it 30% over here in the speed change. And I'm just going to move that forward till about, looks like we're not quite long enough. So I'm going to zoom out and just give us some space again. And then I'm going to zoom back in and expand this to about 9 seconds. And let's see if that matches our reference video. Pretty good. So you can see the time up here, but you can also see your time right here. This is your time code. So we're ending right about 9 seconds. That's perfect. Something else I want to do before we move on is I want to fade our video in and fade our music in so it comes in a little more gradual. To do this in Davinci, it's really easy. We're just going to grab this little white handle at the top here. If you can move this out of the way to see it a little bit better. So we're going to hover over that. Right when your cursor turns to this shape, the two little arrows going left and right, you can just drag that forward, and that's going to fade that video in. And then we're going to do the same exact thing for our music. And now we're going to get rid of this jump cut that goes from this video to the second video. We're just going to hover in between them right click. We're going to add a 24 frame cross dissolve. This is the most basic type of transition other than a cut or a jump cut. And I think that looks really nice right there. All right, now we're going to scroll forward and we're going to connect these videos again and just see if the timing works out. I'm going to go back to my reference video and see how long this one plays. It goes from about 9 or 10 seconds until about 13. So we're almost there. We're a little bit long. So let's just go to about 13. And another way, besides, instead of cutting, another way to trim your clips is just to hover on the end of it and you can drag it back just like that. Then I'm going to scroll forward a little bit more. I'm going to connect these two and check the timing again for that clip. So it goes from about 14 to 16. So it's pretty quick. And we're just about there. So we don't even need to edit that one at all. Really quick, let's hit Control S on our keyboard, or you can go to File, Save Project, and just make sure we've saved our progress. All right, let's head back to our reference video and let's watch this kind of main drop of the song where it kind of goes to black and then the video returns. Let's see what that looks like. So we can see that quick cut to black happened around 26 or 27 seconds. But in our project, it's right here. You can see this gap. If we zoom into the timeline, you can see it's a very clear gap in the music. This is what we're going to use as our guide to make that effect happen. But we can see it's happening at about 32 seconds. So we actually need to zoom back out and trim a little bit of time off of the very beginning of the song. So we can hover over the very beginning of the audio. And what we could do is just trim off, let's trim off about 5 seconds. Then we can drag that back and we can see kind of where that happens. So right there, about 5 seconds puts us at the 26-second mark for that gap right there. So I think that's perfect. So we're here, our timing is good. We need to add a fade here in between these two, because right now it's just a regular old cut. But if you add a fade here, that's going to look a lot better. Looks really smooth. The next clip, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit, is our red leaves here. So we need to add slow motion to this one. Slow motion is going to make this clip longer, so we can definitely just cut this beginning part out right away. So I'm going to go right here to where it starts to become in focus. I'm going to cut that out. Let's go up here to speed change, make that 30%. And then what I could do is extend this just a little bit. Let's check the reference video for how long. That looks pretty good. And now let's take our next video. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. And we're actually missing a clip that's supposed to go in here. If we look at the reference video, there's another clip here with this tree, the light kind of shining through those red leaves. So let's just go back over here to our media pool. Head into fall clips. You can change the view around to see which one you want. It's this clip right here, C023. So it's just this little bit right here. You can do the same thing that we did with the cut page in this edit page. So I'm going to choose I on my keyboard as soon as I found my in point. And then I'm going to hit O on the keyboard. And now I'm going to zoom out of my timeline and give these videos some space again. I'm going to double click back up here so that I'm on this, and you'll notice if I start to drag this down and I want to add it on the end, this audio is going to overlap our song, and that's no good. It's deleting part of that song actually. So we want to Control Z if that happens. And we can just click on this little film strip and drag down instead. And that just brings the video down. You could do that vice versa with the audio as well. So let's zoom back in. Let's slow this clip down to about 30% again. And let's extend it a little bit. It goes to about 22, 23 seconds. So right about here, I think would be good. Scroll forward on the timeline. And now we have that beautiful mountain shot. It's going to look up at the mountain and then cut to black. So the timing seemed pretty good there, but we can get it even more perfect if we zoom in as far as we can. So hold Alt on the keyboard and just drag this all the way to the right. We can drag this out just a little bit, just so it ends right there, right in the middle of this audio spike. Then we're going to zoom back out and we're going to see what that looks like. And now we can already see with this audio what our starting point's going to be. So what I want you to do is drag your cursor right here so it's lined up perfectly with that audio spike. And then we're going to take our drone shot and bring it backwards. It's going to snap to our playhead. So something good to know about editing in Davinci is it has this little magnet symbol right here. You can click that magnet on and off, and that's basically a snapping feature. So this video snaps to points like the end of this video, or it's going to snap to the playhead. But if I turn that off, it's not going to snap to the playhead the same way, and it's not going to snap to that video. It's actually going to start to overlap it, which would be deleting that video, so we don't want that to happen. So make sure you have that magnet on. I usually have it on whenever I'm editing. So let's see if that timing works out. Oops, I'm going to zoom out so I can see a little bit better. Sweet, that worked really well. Don't even have to adjust it. So now you can see in our audio, this is the next part. This is the jump cuts part. And we're not even like at that house yet. So if we check our reference video, this part of the video is actually moving a lot faster. And then around 33, 34 seconds, there are 3 jump cuts. So instead of doing a slow motion speed change, we're going to make this like 150%. So it actually moves a little bit faster. Then we're going to go back to about 33 seconds. And here's a little trick I like to use for jump cuts. I'm going to zoom in so I can kind of see when this drone shot starts, and then I can see where I want my jump cuts to start. So here's my little trick. If you hit M on the keyboard, it creates what's called a marker. And these don't have to be perfect, but this is really useful when you're doing fast cuts like this. So we can see in the reference video, the jump cuts happen to the beat of the music. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I like to scroll back a little bit, press play, press spacebar on the keyboard, and then I just hit that M on the keyboard as this playhead's going past that area, and I just try to get it on beat. Let's give it a shot. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 markers right here. It's okay if they show up down here. It's okay if they show up on the timeline. It doesn't really matter. And now I know I have like a little guide of where to put these videos. I can bring my videos backward and I can cut them up so they're about in place. Let's see what that looks like. To me, that timing looks pretty good. We could go in, zoom in a little bit further. Let's watch it one more time. You know, you can tap your foot, you can tap your fingers, pretend like you're playing the drums to this song and see if that makes sense and works. So now we're on to our next video. It's kind of slow tilt up. We're going to zoom out, bring our next drone footage in. And I think it's actually this one right here. Yep. So we're going to do a fade right here. And I want to trim that one forward a little bit so it starts to tilt up just like the first video was. I think that's going to look a lot better. Yeah. Then this section of the music right here that we just passed, that's where we're going to do our final 3 jump cuts into the title sequence. So I'm going to hit B on the keyboard for the blade, or you can just click it right here. And I'm going to make a cut around where I think it needs to be cut. I'm going to hit A on the keyboard to make my selection tool highlighted, and then I'm going to delete that end that I don't really need. Let's zoom out to see the entire thing, and let's bring our 3 clips, our last jump cuts forward just a little bit. And now I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer, and we're going to do that same thing we did earlier. I'm going to tap my foot to the beat. I'm going to try to time this as best I can. It's okay if I mess up, but I'm going to hit M on the keyboard with the beat to try to get those markers in place. I feel like I nailed that. So now we have a really nice, easy guide for cutting these clips. And I should do one more bout in this audio spike. Oops. So I'm going to do one more cut right here. That's going to be our cut to black. And let's just see if the timing works out. We might have to adjust it a little bit. I think that works. That works just fine. I want to move this clip forward a little bit so it's kind of like rising more. So a really cool tool is this slip tool. When you click and drag, it's going to just drag that video forward but keep the same in and out point on the timeline. So we're using like we're basically changing the in and out point without changing its position on the timeline, which is really nice. All right, now all we got to do is add the title. We're going to trim off the end of this song that we don't really need. And if you don't have this selected, select effects in the top left here, go to titles, and we're just going to do a basic title. If you want to do something fancy, please play around with these. These are really fun. And I'm just going to extend the music to end when the title ends. So now this says basic title. Of course, we don't want it to say that. We're going to go top right to the inspector, highlight our title, and then we're going to change it right here. That looks great. But please don't use Open Sans as a text. Do me a favor and just play around with the text. Pick one that you think is cool. Fonts are sometimes hard to find, some good fonts. So choose a different font, play with the sizing, play with the color, do something unique, and have fun with this part. All right, I don't know. I think that's kind of cool. Let's see what our whole video looks like, start to finish. All right, I love the video. I think it ends a little abruptly, so we're going to just zoom into the end here. And by the way, wherever your playhead is, this red thing, that's where you're going to zoom in and out to. So if we're back here, we can see the whole timeline. If I scroll to the beginning of the video and start zooming, it's going to zoom to the beginning. If I scroll to the end of the video, it's going to start zooming into that part of the video. So let's extend this just a little bit, maybe 1 second, and then I'm just going to grab this end and we're going to fade it out for about 2 seconds. I'm going to end the music around the same time, and I'm going to do the same thing, fade out the music. I'm going to make the music fade out a little bit longer. And that's it. This video looks great. For our first video, it's really simple. We use the basic transitions, we use the basic title, but it feels more like a finished product, right? We have a nice fade in, so it's not so abrupt in the very beginning, nice fade out. We used elements of timing to kind of give it a little bit more quality, and we didn't have any clips that were too long, too lingering, right? So now all we have to do is the final step, which is the deliver and export step of the editing workflow. So hit this little rocket down here, this little deliver part, our section of Davinci, and then we're going to go up to file name, and let's type in last name underscore fall colors. I'm going to hit browse next to location here, head to the folder that I used to create this project, and hit save. One last thing, we just need to make sure our settings are correct, right? 1920 by 1080, 24 frames per second. And one last thing, format. We're going to change that from QuickTime to MP4. Once we're done with that, hit add to render queue, and then simply go to the top right of the screen and hit render all. Davinci is going to spit that clip out in an MP4 format really quickly. Now just submit that file onto Canvas and you're done. Done with your very first real video in Davinci Resolve. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it was easy to follow. As always, please let me know if you have any trouble on any of these steps.